Constantly being on autopilot just actually may be what's causing you to feel drained at the end of the day. Crazy, I know, but routine fatigue is real, and we're unpacking it today on this episode of the Hello Well with Danielle podcast, which is your weekly mental vacation from the daily grind for busy women who just need a moment to pause, breathe, and woosah. I'm your host, Danielle Washington. So, routine fatigue. There is a quote from the famous novelist Paulo Coelho. It says, "If you think adventure is dangerous, try routine. It's lethal." And that quote is so insane. And it's really the premise of today's topic, because being in routine, being on that autopilot, and you may not realize it, this is the thing that's like really jacking up your life and your energy and draining you. And don't get me wrong. I love a good routine. I have so many Virgo tendencies. I love a good routine. But is that autopilot really what's behind it? So I had to think about this, and I had to look this up a little bit more, because I was like, routine fatigue, what is this really about? And I found this really cool article talking about it. And so I was like, okay, this is real. I'm not just making this up in my head that maybe being always on routine is kind of messing things up. The article was from meequilibrium.com, and they were talking about how, like humans, like animals, we're predictable. And it's a good thing, because it means it's less that we need to think about. It means our brain gives our brain a time to kind of shut down, and it needs the break from like overly thinking. However, the flip side of constantly being in a routine, and the dark side that no one talks about, is that your brain left on autopilot too long kind of starts being like, oh, cool, I get to be that lazy coworker. I'm going to diminish your creativity, your motivation. I'm going to make you feel drained because, hey, I don't have to do anything. Because I am the queen of autopilot. And that means what? We're not thinking. We're just here. So outside of the jokes, what exactly is routine fatigue? So routine fatigue, as I like to think about it, is kind of that weariness or that draining feeling that comes with repetition. Feeling like you're just moving through the day, you know what it's going. It's like you're driving, when you're driving home from wherever and you're on the road, you don't even have to like kind of really pay attention completely, because you're like, I'm just here. I'm on the highway 101. I'm going to get to this road. I'm going to go there. I'm going to turn left. I'm going to turn right. And then I'm home. That's that autopilot. And our brain often is on autopilot. If you look at the science behind it, we only use 10% of our thoughts, our like conscious thoughts. Everything is subconscious. Everything else, 90% of how we operate is in the subconscious realm. And so we're not having to really force those active thoughts completely, because we're in the subconscious. And what is it? And which is fine, because it helps us get through life, and it helps us just kind of regulate. We had to, every time we got in a car, we had to consciously think, okay, I have to open the door. I now need to sit in this actual seat, not the other seat, this seat right here next to this wheel thing. Then I have to turn the ignition on. That's doing too much. That'd be too much. But when we get into such a repetitive routine with our actions in another way, where it becomes unfulfilling routines, where we're just literally going through the motions of our life, we kind of feel like we're on this life that's like a carousel and we just never get off, then that's when it becomes a problem. You have signs, or common signs of that, I would say, is like feeling emotionally drained, unmotivated, disconnected. And these are some kind of basic common signs that you would see if someone is having or experiencing routine fatigue. I don't know. I'm curious to see if anyone has been this. Like, I can tell you why I do it. Like, because I'm 100% have been in this space. It's that I feel like I do it because it's just easier. I get up at the same time. I eat similar things. It's easy because I know I'm going to like it. I go certain places because I know it's what I like to go, especially if I'm going out to eat. Like I go to my favorite restaurants because I know it's predictable. I don't have to worry. There's no pressure behind, certain things when you stick to a routine. It helps me stay productive, staying to a routine. Like if you have kids and you have them on a routine, you get them up at a certain time, or have them do certain things, it makes life just more predictable. And especially when you're juggling a lot of roles and people and responsibilities, it's how we prioritize our life. But at the same time, by sticking to this routine and this monotonous life, how often are we prioritizing our responsibilities over our joy because we're so busy being like, can't have joy because that's out of the predictability. We can't create this spark. I did a whole podcast about, life, beyond the responsibilities and roles to get that spark. Because oftentimes I think we lose our spark. We lose our joy because we're so caught up in living the routine. We're like this little robots, just, I'm going to work. I'm going to church. I'm going to bed. And we don't make space for the unknown possibilities of things that could be amazing that we don't know, because we don't have time for the unknown because we're so focused in on everything needs to stay in our routine for us to be good. I like being good, but I think life can be better for everyone who's listening to this. So like how does routine fatigue affect our moods, our energy, and our relationships? I feel like it's important to kind of explore that side of it, because if it's just like, oh, okay, I could change my routine, or I'm in a routine, why should I care? It's not bothering me. It's not affecting anything. Well, that's the part. I think it is affecting you and you're not paying attention, or you may not realize it, or you may realize it and you're still like, I'm still rocking with this world. So let's take our moods. When you're kind of in this rut of just going through the motions and just getting by, routine fatigue can feel, I don't know, I want to say, not that it can feel, it can just make you a little bit more irritable. You can make you feel less satisfied because you're just kind of in this lull. Over time, it can lead you to feeling just emotionally numb and indifferent. Nothing's good, nothing's bad, nothing's right or wrong. I'm just here on the routine. I'm just going through the motions. It can deplete your energy, if we're talking about energy. It makes you feel uninspired, like you're just doing simple tasks that feel so disassociated from you actually having to feel something. And having that moment of just being kind of just numb and disassociated also is very draining. And it adds to this ongoing feeling of feeling tired, and that we just kind of disappear until we fall asleep. And we're just mentally disappearing because we're just not needing to be there because we're on autopilot. Someone else is driving this. Our routine is driving our life. And then you go into our relationships. When you're in routine fatigue, like think about, the only way I can think about this, like think about having sex with the same person, which is great, but having sex with the same person, the exact same routine, it's like it's a dance choreography on TikTok. You know exactly how it's going to happen. You know exactly which move, when, at what time that's going to happen. I don't know about you, but that would be really boring. That would be draining. That would just take all of the air out of the room. It can lead to you or someone else who's in a relationship with you who is, kind of over this routine fatigue, to feel withdrawal, to feel less engaged. Why am I going to engage if this is going to be the same old, same old? It can lead to tensions. It can lead to heightened emotions because someone may feel like, I want more. So when you start thinking, oh, my routine is good, I'm good on autopilot, I kind of wanted to make sure you understood how it's affecting your mood, how it's affecting your energy, how it is affecting your relationships, because sometimes we just don't think about those things. And it doesn't take much to change to get yourself even slightly outside of the routine fatigue. Like the article I read gave some, interesting things. It was talking about going on trips. I'm like, yeah, of course, going on a trip is going to be amazing, but not everyone can go on a trip. Not everyone has the time. And as we get closer to the new year, we're talking about changing our lives. Well, what's little routine things you can change? Maybe it's talking about switching up your day. Maybe you start your day differently. You normally drink coffee. Well, maybe you start juicing. And it's not something you have to do constantly. Maybe you exercise in the morning. Maybe there's some kind of fun thing you do in the morning that just is kind of your little way of kind of bringing joy and laughter. Maybe it's watching some, not well, I was going to say, maybe it's watching like a TikTok thing, but we can easily get caught up in that. So I'm not going to recommend that, but think of something, reading something, laughing at something, think of a funny memory. It's creating something like, I don't know, take a day where if you're someone who always says yes, say no. See how many times you can say no. Swap your chores, change up something like that. Like, think of different things that you can do to change up your day. So if you always go for a walk during the middle of the day, maybe it's that you go, do cartwheels. I don't know. Think of something. This is like me telling you what to do is not going to get you to do something. Me giving the suggestions of, hey, you doing a little thing, a little shift can go a long way, because there's something about in our brain. When you make that little shift from your routine, the brain starts being like, oh, wait, is someone trying to turn on the lights? Is someone turning off autopilot? Oh, I guess it's time for me to get back into action. It helps us get back into that motivation, get back into that energizing feeling and not feeling so drained. So try it. See how it goes. I'm curious to see what your day flows like when you add a little thing. I think for me, one thing I had added recently, or not recently, like in the last couple of years, was adding like little micro meditation throughout the day. So I'll do like a 1 or 2 minute pause where I'll like close my eyes, I'll do some deep breathing, or I'll chant a mantra. That made a small little shift. And I actually had an alarm set so I could do it. And now I just kind of do it naturally without needing the alarm. But that was one little shift that worked for me. Another shift for me was in the morning, instead of rushing straight from, doing my practice and then going straight into checking email, I started stopping and just sitting with my morning tea and just looking outside and just kind of breathing, not trying to mentally plan my day, but I was just like, I'm just here and I'm cool. And I'm having a moment before jumping right into things. I was kind of easing in, and I felt my brain was like, oh, okay. You want to give me some space so when I'm ready to start being creative, I have the mental capacity. So to wrap up this episode with a cute little bow and tie it all together, let's just remember that we don't have to be locked into the same rhythm every single day. And sometimes that rhythm, though it may feel good in the moment, it's secretly the root of us feeling drained, unmotivated, and just blah. So if routine fatigue is creeping into your life, try something small, something just really minuscule, just bite size. Switch up one little section of your day, one little thing in your day. Maybe it's giving yourself a moment to pause, take a few deep breaths. Maybe it's doing a little bit of yoga. Maybe it's doing a little dance. Whatever it is, that tiny shift that can help you turn off the autopilot and bring back some spark and some energy into your life. Let's do that. We've had so many crazy moments We've had so many moments where we're just feeling like, I'm just here, I'm just trying to survive. What if that one little shift was the spark that dramatically changed your life in such a beautiful way? Life is too short to just get through. So let's make a pact. Let's live. Let's have more intention in our life. Let's have a little bit more excitement in our life. And let's make that one small change that's going to spark this big, huge fire, us being the badasses that we are. All I know is that you got this. I know that you know you're worthy, but in case you need to hear, you're worthy. You're worthy of feeling more than just okay. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week. Ciao. Thanks for joining us this week on the Hello Well with Danielle show. Make sure to visit our website, hellowellwithdanielle.com, where you can subscribe to our show on iTunes, Spotify, and Amazon Music and never miss an episode. Also, you can follow us on social media at Hello Well with Danielle on Facebook and Instagram, and Hello Well Danny on Twitter. And if you like hella love the show and got some good nuggets out of it, know that I'm not too proud to ask for you to please leave a rating or review on iTunes so that we can continue to expand our reach and help other women of color. Again, thanks so much for listening, and I hope to see you next week. Ciao.